The book of Exodus, chapter 39 through 40. Shabbat Shalom, peace and love. Peace and love, Shabbat Shalom. Be reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 39 to 40, and moving into Leviticus, chapter 1 through 2. Bear with me as I try to get through this, y'all willing. The book of Exodus, chapter 39, verse 1. And of the blue and scarlet and of the blue and scarlet material they made woven garments to do the service in the set apart place. And they made the set apart garments which were for Aaron as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 2. And he made the shoulder garments of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. Verse 3. And they beat out sheets of gold and cut it into threads to work it in with blue and purple scarlet material, and the fine linen, the work of skilled workmen. Verse 4. They made shoulder pieces for it to join it. It was joined at its two edges. Verse 5. And the embroidered band of his shoulder garment that was on it was of the same work of gold and blue and purple and scarlet material and of fine woven linen, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 6. And they made the shoham stones set in plated work of gold, engraved as signets are engraved, according to the names of the sons of Yisrael. Verse 7. And he put them on the shoulders of the shoulder garment, stones of remembrance for the sons of Yisrael, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 8. And he made the breastplate a work of skilled workmen, like the work of the shoulder garment, of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. Verse 9. It was square. They made the breastplate double, its length a span, its width a span double. Verse 10. And they filled it with 4 rows of stones, a row of ruby, a topaz, and an emerald was the first row. Verse 11. In the second row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond. Verse 12. In the third row, a jacinth, and a gate, and an amethyst. Verse 13. In the fourth row, a beryl, a shoham, and a jasper, set in plated work of gold in their settings. Verse 14. And the stones were according to the names of the sons of Yisrael, 12 according to the names engraved like a signet, each one with its own name according to the 12 tribes. Verse 15. And they made braided chains of corded work for the breastplate at the ends of clean gold. Verse 16. And they made 2 satins of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. Verse 17. And they put the 2 cords of the gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. Verse 18. And the 2 ends of the 2 cords, they fastened in the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment in the front. Verse 19. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, on the edge of it, which was on the inward side of the shoulder garment. Verse 20. And they made 2 gold rings, and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces underneath the shoulder garment, on the front of it, close to its seams, among the embroidered band of the shoulder garment. Verse 21. And they bound the breastplate by means of rings to the rings of shoulder garment with a blue cord, so that it would be above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, and that the breastplate would not come loose from the shoulder garment, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 22. And he made the robe of the shoulder garment of woven work all of blue. Verse 23, and the opening of the robe was in the middle, like the opening in a scaled armor, with a woven binding all around the opening, so that it would not tear. Verse 24, and they made on the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet material twined. Verse 25, and they made bells of clean gold and put the bells between the pomegranates on the hem of the robe all around between the pomegranates. Verse 26, a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate all around the hem of the robe for the service as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 27, and they made the long shirt of fine linen, the work of a weaver for Aaron and his sons. Verse 28, and a turban of fine linen, and the turban ornaments of fine linen, and short trousers of fine woven linen. Verse 29, and a girdle of fine woven linen with blue and purple and scarlet material, the work of embroiderer, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 30, and they made the plate of the set apart sign of dedication of clean gold and wrote on it an inscription like the engraving of a signet, set apartness to Yahuwah, set apartness to Yahuwah. Verse 31, and they put on it a blue cord to fasten it above on the turban, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 32, and all the work of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment was completed, and the children of Israel did according to all that Yahuwah had commanded Moshe, so they did. Verse 33, and they brought the dwelling place to Moshe, the tent and all its furnishings, its hooks, its boards, its bars, its columns, and its sockets. Verse 34, and the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of fine leather, and the veil of the covering. Verse 35, and the ark of the witness with its poles and the lid of atonement. Verse 36, the table and all its utensils and the showbread. Verse 37, the clean lampstand with its lamps, the lamps to be put in order, and all its utensils in the oil for light. Verse 38, in the slaughter place of gold, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the covering for the tent door. Verse 39, the bronze slaughter place, and its bronze grating, its poles, and all its utensils, the basin with its stand. Verse 40, the screens of the courtyard, its columns and its sockets, the covering for the courtyard gate, its cords and its pegs, and all the utensils for the service of the dwelling place, for the tent of appointment. Verse 41, the woven garments to do service in the set apart place, the set apart garments for Aaron the priest, and his sons' garments to serve as priests. Verse 42, according to all that Yahuwah had commanded Moshe, so the children Israel did all the work. Verse 43, and Moshe looked over all the work and saw they did it as Yahuwah had commanded, so they had done, and Moshe blessed them. Chapter 40. Chapter 40, verse 1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, verse 2, on the first day of the first new moon, you are to raise up the dwelling place of the tent of appointment. Verse 3, and shall put in it the ark of the witness and the screen, the ark of the veil. Verse 4, and you shall bring in the table and arrange what belongs on it, and bring in the lampstand and light its lamps. Verse 5, and you shall set the slaughter place of gold for the incense before the ark of the witness, and put up the covering of the door to the dwelling place. Verse 6, and you shall set the slaughter place of the ascending offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment. Verse 7, and shall set the basin between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and shall put water therein. Verse 8, And you shall set up the courtyard all around, and shall place the covering of the courtyard gate. Verse 9, and shall take the anointing oil and anoint the dwelling place and all that is in it, and shall set it and all its utensils apart, and it shall be set apart. Verse 10, and you shall anoint slaughter place of the ascending offering and all its utensils, and set the slaughter place apart, and the slaughter place shall be most set apart. Verse 11, and you shall anoint the basin and its stand and its set apart. Verse 12, and you shall bring Aaron and his son to the door of the tent of appointment and wash them with water. Verse 13, and you shall put the set apart garment on Aaron and anoint him and set him apart to serve as priest to me. Verse 14, and you shall bring his sons and put long shirts on them. Verse 15, and shall anoint them as you anointed their father, and they shall serve as priests to me, and the anointing shall be for them an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Verse 16, and Moshe did according to all that Yahuwah had commanded them, so he did. So a priesthood throughout all generations, and should anoint them as you anointed their fathers, and they shall serve as priests to me, and their anointing shall be for them an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. So that's them, not everybody. You don't have priests in the Mashiach and kings in the Mashiach, but that's another story. Verse 16, and Moshe did according to all that Yahuwah had commanded him, so he did. Verse 17, and it came to be in the first new moon of the second year, on the first day of the new moon, that the dwelling place was raised up. Verse 18, and Moshe raised up the dwelling place and placed its sockets, and it set up its boards and put its bars and raised up its columns. Verse 19, and spread the tent over the dwelling place and put the covering of the tent on top of it, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. Verse 20, and he took the witness and put it in to the ark, and he put the poles through the rings in the ark, and put the lid of atonement on top of the ark. Verse 21, and brought the ark into the dwelling place, and placed the veil of the covering to screen off the ark of witness, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 22, and he put the table in the tent of appointment on north side of the dwelling place, outside the veil. Verse 23, and set the bread in order upon it before Yahuwah, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. Verse 24, and he put the lampstand in the tent of appointment opposite the table on the south side of the dwelling place. Verse 25, and it lit the lamps before Yahuwah, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 26, and he put the gold slaughter place in the tent of appointment in front of the veil. Verse 27, and burnt sweet incense on it, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. Verse 28, and he set up the covering to the door of the dwelling place. Verse 29, he put the slaughter place of the sending offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of the appointment, and offered upon it the ascending offering and the grain offering, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 30, and he put the basin between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and put water therein for washing. Verse 31, and Moshe and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet with water from it. Verse 32, as they went into the tent of the appointment, and as they came near the slaughter place, they would wash as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe. Verse 33, and he raised up the courtyard all around the dwelling place and the slaughter place, and placed the covering of the courtyard gate. And Moshe completed the work. Verse 34, and the cloud covered the tent of the appointment, and the steam of Yahuwah filled the dwelling place. Verse 35, and Moshe was not able to come into the tent of appointment, because the cloud dwelt on it, and the steam of Yahuwah filled the dwelling place. Verse 36, and when the cloud was taken up from above the dwelling place, the children of Israel went onward in all their journey. Verse 37, but if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out till the day that it was taken up. Verse 38. For the cloud of Yahuwah was on the dwelling place by day, and fire was on it by night, before the eyes of all the house of Israel in all their journey. Chapter 1, verse 1 of Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 1. And Yahuwah called to Moshe and spoke to him from the tent of appointment, saying, verse 2, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any one of you brings an offering to Yahuwah, you bring your offering of the livestock of the herd of the flock. Verse 3, if his offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring it at the door of the tent of appointment for his acceptance before Yahuwah. Verse 4, and he shall lay his hand on the head of the ascending offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. Verse 5, and it shall slay the bull before Yahuwah, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood all around the slaughter place, which is the door of the tent of appointment. Verse 6, and he shall skin the ascending offering and cut it into pieces. Verse 7, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire on the slaughter place and lay to the wood in order on the fire. Verse 8, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall arrange the pieces with the head and the fat on the wood which is on the fire on the slaughter place. Verse 9, but its entrails and its legs he washes with water, and the priest shall burn all of it on the slaughter place and the ascending offering, and offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. Verse 10, and if his offering is from the flock, from the sheep, or from the goats as an ascending offering, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Verse 11, and he shall slay it on the north side of the slaughter place before Yahuwah, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall sprinkle its blood on the slaughter place all around. Verse 12, and he shall cut it into its pieces with his head and his fat, and the priest shall arrange them on the wood which is on the fire on the slaughter place. Verse 13, but the entrails and the legs he washes with water, and the priest shall bring it all and burn on the slaughter place. It is an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. Verse 14, and if the ascending offering of his offerings to Yahuwah is of birds, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or young pigeons. Verse 15, and the priest shall bring it to the slaughter place and shall wring off its head and burn it on the slaughter place, and its blood shall be drained out at the side of the slaughter place. Verse 16, and shall remove its crop with its feathers and throw it beside the slaughter place on the east side into the place for ashes. Verse 17, and he shall split it at its wings, but not sever it, and the priest shall burn it on the slaughter place on the wood that is on the fire. It is an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. Chapter 2, verse 1. And when anyone brings a grain offering to Yahuwah, his offering is to be a fine flour, and he shall pour oil on it and put frankincense on it. Verse 2, and he shall bring it to the sons of Aaron the priest, and he shall take from it his hand filled with fine flour and oil with all the frankincense, and the priest shall burn it as a remembrance portion on the slaughter place, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. Verse 3, and the rest of the grain offering is for Aaron and his sons, most set apart of the offering to Yahuwah by fire. Verse 4, and when you bring as an offering a grain offering baked in the oven, it is of unleavened cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, or unleavened thin cakes anointed with oil. Verse 5, but if your offering is a grain offering on the griddle, it is of fine flour, unleavened mixed with oil. Verse 6, divide it into bits and pour oil on it, it is a grain offering. Verse 7. And if your offering is a grain offering, it is a stewing pot. It is made of fine flour with oil. Verse 8. And you shall bring to Yahuwah the grain offering that is made of these, and shall present it to the priest, and shall bring it to the slaughter place. Verse 9. And the priest shall take from the grain offering a remembrance portion and burn it on the slaughter place, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. Verse 10. And the rest of the grain offering is for Aaron and his sons, most set apart of the offering to Yahuwah made by fire. Verse 11. No grain offering which you bring to Yahuwah is made with leaven, for you do not burn any leaven or any honey in an offering to Yahuwah made by fire. Verse 12. Bring them to Yahuwah as an offering of the first fruits, but they are not burned on the slaughter place for a sweet fragrance. Verse 13. And season with salt every offering of your grain offering, and do not allow the salt of the covenant of your Elohim to be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offering, you bring salt. Verse 14. And if you bring a grain offering of your first fruits to Yahuwah, bring forth a grain offering of your first fruits, green heads of grain roasted on the fire, crushed heads of of new grain. Verse 15. And you shall put oil on it and lay frankincense on it. It is a grain offering. Verse 16. And the priest shall burn the remembrance portion from its crushed grain and from its oil with all the frankincense, and offering made by fire to Yahuwah. That was the book of Exodus, the end of the book of Exodus, chapter 39 to 40, and the beginning of Leviticus, chapter 1 through 2. I'm going to close this live out, and I'm going to pick it back up with the book of Jeremiah. Y'all willing, you're able to revisit. If not, Shabbat Shalom, peace, love, Shabbat Shalom.